development consultant Catch Onanuju joins us now on phone from Abuja. Catch, good morning. It's good to have you join us on TVC Breakfast.
Yeah, good morning. It's good to have me on TVC.
Yes. The Iraqi army and the Kurdistan army have been at loggerheads for more than a decade now, roughly about since 2003, and they've been on this issue until now. But this is the first major drawback the Kurdistan side of things have had, and again, much success from the Iraqi army so far. What is your take when it comes to secession and referendums for independence, enclaves, craving for independence here and there across the world right now?
Well, I think the Kurdish people have earned their independence. And they are the owners of the Peshmerga fighting army. The Peshmerga being used by the Allied forces to push out, as you recently saw, the retaking of Mosul. So I think for their part in driving and defeating the ISIS, they should be allowed their own independence. Come what anybody says, it's not going to be an honest thing if after the Sunnis have damaged Iraq and the Peshmergas were used to bring it back, the Peshmerga are not allowed equality of autonomy. They should be allowed an autonomy. Those who damage Iraq shouldn't expect that the Kurds will still live under them as they were before, as a conquered people.
Of course, there are about 30 million Kurds in Iraq, Syria, Turkey, and of course, Iran. Do you think this 30 million people can really be ignored? And what do you think is really at the root of these agitations in Kurdistan? Of course, it's an oil-rich part of Iraq.
Well, it's a historical problem. Both Turkey and its fear of the PKK, and of course the Iraqis and their own fear of Kurdistan, and Iran's fear of a Kurdish state right on its borders. Iran fears that that state could become an ally of the West and Israel, as recent events have shown, and that's actually been the issue. A lot of the Islamic countries fear that a Kurdistan on their border could not be something that could be tolerated by their Muslim populations. But I believe, under the spirit of live and let live, that Kurdistan has actually earned its right to become an independent nation. This has been on since from the 20s, and it's been on right before the creation of the State of Israel. Yet, after the powers agreed to create Turkey, modern Turkey, they refused the creation of Kurdistan. It's been right that long. I believe that if Turkey was created right after the Byzantine era, it should be allowed that Kurdistan should also be created right now. You've seen what the Sunnis have done in Iraq, establish ISIS, and then the Kurds were used to defeat ISIS. The Kurds should not be allowed to become an independent nation. If not,
speaking of ISIS, the U.S. believes that the battle between the Iraqi forces and the Kurds, the Peshmerga, is actually detracting from the battle or the war against the real enemy, that's ISIS.
No, I do not think so. The Peshmerga, who are the Kurds, have shown that they can be trusted as a very good ally. And the crisis in Iraq has nothing to do with the Kurds, but the Kurds were called upon to save the day. Now, as a prize for their contribution in saving Iraq, the Kurds, I believe, should be allowed autonomy.
All right. The president of the Kurdish region, Barzani, has said that even though they have given up or surrendered the Kirkuk region, doesn't mean he has brought the quest for independence to an end. But let me say, even in Kirkuk themselves, when the Iraqi forces got there, there was little or no resistance at all. What could be responsible for this?
Well, you know, before Kirkuk was reached, the Peshmerga had already done quite a lot of work. And that's why I'm saying that for the contributions of the Peshmergas towards the liberation of Iraq, there should be a commensurate appreciation of their efforts in allowing Kurdistan to have its autonomy. Now, if you do not allow that, it will persist. This has been on since from the very first day when modern Turkey was created by the powers that be, and then they refused the creation of Kurdistan. And Kurdistan has continued to get budget from the Turkish side, from the Iranian side, and of course from the people who made up modern-day Iraq. Now Iraq fell apart, and the Kurds were used to bring a semblance of sanity, as you've seen in the liberation of Mosul and Kirkuk and the rest of Iraq that were taken over by the Sunnis, the moderate Islamic politicians. Now, I do not think it is proper for the Kurds to be forced again to live under the Iraq that they saved. No, they should be allowed autonomy to be on their own as a prize for their contribution to saving modern Iraq.
What impact do you think this will have eventually on the global economy if things continue this way? Of course, the price of oil is already going up.
It's a very, very, very troubling and tension-filled region. I do not suppose that the crisis will stop. I foresee a new Kurdistan with Mr. Barzani, who is a very deft politician, continuing to agitate about their rights. You know, because they are budget from all sides. One side Iraq, one side Iran, another side by Turkey. Everybody who does not want them to actually exist. But I believe with the support of the United States, talking to its allies, Iraq that's not very strong right now, Kurdistan should be able to stay. I do not see a sustained destabilization of the oil markets to become an issue, no, because the oil in Kurdistan is safe in the hands of the Kurdish army, the Peshmerga, who are very strong enough to actually withstand any fighting from ISIS, but may not be that strong to withstand trouble from both Turkey and Iran. And that's why it is very necessary that the United States should work with its allies to see that we have stability there. Whether Kurdistan is allowed autonomy or not, we do not need another crisis from that part of the world.
All right. Really, we do not need more crisis. We have so much already. Catch Onanoju, development consultant, joining us from Abuja. Thank you so much for talking to TVC Breakfast.
Thank you for having me.
Right.